Police are having problems apprehending internet fraudsters who often operate from other countries, but a new generation of amateurs is stepping in. Rosie Okamura, 35, contacts thieves and plays mind games with them for an hour or two 3 to 4 days a week. For the past 2 years, the Los Angeles-based voice actor has operated a reverse call center, calling individuals who most of us ignore, scammers posing as tax authorities or tech support businesses, or telling you that you've been involved in a vehicle accident you don't remember. When a fraudster phones, Okamura will pose as an elderly woman, a 6-year-old child, or a fantastic copy of Apple's virtual assistant Siri. She once convinced a fictitious customer care employee that she was Britney Spears. "I invest their time," she continues, "and they are no longer stealing from someone's grandmother." Okamura is a scambaiter, an international vigilante who interrupts, exposes, and even fools con artists. While scambaiting has a rocky 20-year internet history, with early forum members engaging in harsh, sometimes racist, shaming practices, a new generation of scambaiters is sweeping TikTok and YouTube. Okamura has a YouTube following of over 1.5 million and wants to keep both channels funny and light. In April, then Junior Health Minister Lord Bethel tweeted about a dramatic increase in spam calls, while consumer group Which? Said that phone and text fraud had increased by 83% during the previous month's epidemic. According to Ofcom, fraudsters are more adept at spoofing authentic phone numbers, giving the appearance of being from your bank. In this environment, scambaiters seem to be superheroes, but is the story really so straightforward? Okamura became a scambaiter when her mother was defrauded of $500. Batman became Batman to avenge his parents' deaths. Okamura became a scambaiter when her mother was tricked out of $500. In 2019, her mother, who is in her 60s and lives alone, saw a nod pop up on her computer. It was branded with the Windows logo and informed her that she was infected, along with a phone number to contact to get it removed. Therefore, she dialed their number, and they said, "You have this virus, why don't we connect to your computer and examine it?" The fraudster was able to see all of Okamura's data since they had remote access to her computer. They grabbed her personal information, including her social security number, after she paid them $500 to delete the infection. Fortunately, the bank was able to prevent the monies from being transferred from her mother's account, but Okamura was expecting for more than a simple refund. She asked her mother for the number she dialed and then phoned it herself, wasting the scammer's time for an hour and 45 minutes. Kim Kardashian added, "My computer is giving me the worst feelings." "Are you now seated in front of your computer?" said the con artist. "Isn't it directly in front of me?" Okamura uploaded the movie to YouTube and has since generated over 200 others, earning a steady income from advertising. She also takes sponsorships directly from companies. "A lot of it is for entertainment purposes, it's amusing, it's pleasant to do, and it makes people happy," she replies when asked why she scambaits. "However, I get a handful of letters every day from people saying, 'Oh, thank you so much, I would have lost $1,500 without that video.'" Okamura is not naive. She recognizes that she will never be able to prevent individuals from scamming, but she aims to deter others from falling for it. "I believe that teaching people and avoiding fraud is more effective than arresting all of the perpetrators." According to a study done by Birmingham City University, the UK's National Fraud Hotline, which is operated by the City of London police-affiliated Action Fraud, was deemed unfit for purpose in October 2020. According to a previous Times undercover investigation, just 1 in 50 fraud allegations results in an arrest, with Action Fraud often abandoning investigations. Throughout the epidemic, text-based scams have grown, demanding people pay delivery fees for non-existent items. One victim lost £80,000 after providing personal information to pay for delivery. When asked if vigilante scambaiters aided or hindered the battle against fraud, an Action Fraud representative steered clear of the subject. "It is critical that those contacted by fraudsters use the appropriate reporting channels to help police and other law enforcement agencies in acquiring critical information," they said in an email. "We would always urge you to alert your friends and family about any scams you become aware of, since word of mouth can be a powerful tool for safeguarding others from fraud." As part of their profession, some scambaiters do report fraudsters to authorities. Jim Browning is the identity of a Northern Irish YouTuber with almost 3 5 million followers who has spent the last 7 years making scam baiting videos under the name Jim Browning. Browning often obtains access to fraudsters' computers and has even accessed contact center CCTV video in order to identify suspects. He then transmits this information to the appropriate authorities, which include the police, money transfer companies, and internet service providers. I wouldn't call myself a vigilante, but I go out of my way to identify the perpetrators of scams and report them to the appropriate authorities. He continues by stating that throughout his lifetime, he has seen just 2 scammers imprisoned. He collaborated with BBC Panorama earlier this year on an investigation into an Indian contact center, which resulted in the center being raided by local authorities and the proprietor being arrested. Browning describes his decision to pursue a career as a YouTuber as random. He began distributing his film in order to provide proof to police, but onlookers immediately flooded in. Unfortunately, YouTube caters to a younger demographic, and the individuals I'd most want to see watching videos are older, he adds. Browning engages with the American Association of Retired People in its official newspaper to promote awareness of scams, despite the fact that only 10% of his readers are over the age of 60. I cooperate with them on purpose in order to carry the message a little bit farther. That is not to say Browning's capacity to amuse has diminished. In his most popular video, which has accumulated 40 million views, he quietly addresses them by their true names. "Are you going to notify Archie? You've become pretty silent for some inexplicable reason," Browning observes in the midst of a conversation. The panicked con artist hangs up. After garnering over 1,800 likes, one viewer on the video recalls feeling genuine chills. While the largest and most raucous YouTube stars make millions, Browning's videos are often blocked. YouTube's guidelines are wide, with one restriction stating that material that may offend, disgust, or shock viewers may not be eligible for advertising. As a result, Browning continues to work full-time. Scam baiting is not limited to YouTube. Jack Whitaker, a criminology PhD student at the University of Surrey, has published research on scam baiting. He asserts that some scam baiters want a sense of belonging, while others are dissatisfied with police inactivity, and yet others are just bored. He is worried about some scam baiters' humiliation practices, as well as the underlying "I for an I" mentality. "I am somebody who really thinks that we should live in a society based on the rule of law," Whitaker adds. He asserts that in order for scam baiting to be credible, baiters must go above and beyond immoral and illegal behavior, such as hacking into a scammer's computer and deleting all of their data. Whitaker is also concerned about societal prejudice as a result of India's overcrowded labor market, which has resulted in an increase in fraud call centers. He feels that racist comments on Browning's videos should be deleted. "I believe that scam baiters hold all of the talents necessary to effect positive change in the world. However," Whitaker notes, "they are aimless. I believe there has to be some soul-searching about how we can improve volunteer deployment throughout the police system." Whitaker has at least one former scam baiter on his side. Edward is an American software engineer who participated in a well-known bait in the early 2000s on the world's biggest scam baiting website. Edward convinced a fraudster called Omar that he had been promised a rich job via the help of some internet pals. Omar had paid for a 600-mile journey to Lagos but found himself stranded. "He called us because he was out of money. He was unsure how he would return home. He was in tears," Edward explains. "And, although I'm not sure whether I believe him or not, it was the one that made me realize, maybe I'm going a little too far." Edward ceased scam baiting after that. He'd taken up the practice while serving in the military and stationed in a secluded place. He worked 4 or 5 hours a day scam baiting, which he described as part-time job that provided him with a feeling of fraternity and unity. "After all, isn't there a reason I requested anonymity?" Edward responds when questioned about his current behavior. "I'm ashamed of myself." At some point, you begin to think, was I the evil guy? Edward has now spoken out against vigilantism, claiming that it is the responsibility of technological platforms to expose fraud. Despite this, the general population continues to be defenseless against more competent con artists. Scam baiting, on the other hand, will continue to exist. Cassandra Raposo, 23, of Ontario, started scam baiting in 2020, during the first lockout. One of her TikTok videos has been seen 1.5 million times since then. When fraudsters requested her personal information, she informed them that her name was Nancy Drew, gave them the location of a police station, and continued to act foolishly in order to annoy them. I feel that law enforcement and information technology firms should do more to detect and stop these scams, but I realize how tough that is, Raposo says, adding that authorities and scam baiters should collaborate. She hopes that her films will inspire young people to speak with their grandparents about scam techniques, and, like Browning, she has gotten thank you notes from prospective victims who escaped fraud as a result of her efforts. Out there, she says, my films have a little but significant influence. I'll respond as long as people call. Okamura is an advocate for education and prevention, yet she has also aided a fraudster in reprogramming his mind. At school, I established friends with a classmate. He stopped scamming and described how he got started. Job prospects are few in the nation where he resides, this is the usual. The con artist informed Okamura that he believed all Americans are affluent, stupid, and greedy, and that taking from them had no lasting effect on their life. Ultimately, Okamura continues, some people are just desperate. Some of them are utter jerks who could care less. That is why I make an effort to keep things lighter and humorous. By squandering their time, I've committed the most heinous act imaginable.